and I need to know this. There is no boasting whatever. Whether you are a great pastor, whether you are a minor pastor, or you are a great prophet or a minor prophet, or a great apostle or a minor apostle, whatever, there is no boasting at all. We need to know that our rewards come from him who is called the Alpha and the Omega. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I hope you are blessed. And therefore pride should not seize you. Pride is a destroyer. Raising up of shoulders is a destroyer. Do not live through pride because of the little possessions that you may have gotten while on this planet, which shall be rolled away, and which is even reserved for fire. There is no pride in these things. So when we do the work of God, we should do it looking up to heaven, unto the heavenly throne, for a measure of reward that Christ himself has reserved for us, and to see into it that our names are booked in the book of life. That is the ultimate. That is the only thing we need. All these properties, vanity upon vanity. Vanity upon vanity, the Bible tells me so. Living a life without Jesus is vanity upon vanity. Vanity, vanity upon vanity. The Bible tells me so. Living a life without Jesus is vanity upon vanity. Vanity, vanity upon vanity. The Bible tells me so. Living a life without Jesus is vanity upon vanity. Hallelujah. Thanks be to God. Right now, let us move into the work proper. And I saw, when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, "Come and see." In Revelation chapter number 5, you learned about the beasts. And I told you that these beasts are before the throne of God. Now, when you look at the Ark of Covenant, you have two cherubim that stretch their wings and touch the edges of their wings, and you have the mercy seat where Jesus sits. So Jesus sits in between two cherubim whose wings, which are four wings, touch their seams on top of the mercy seat. And Jesus sits between them on the mercy seat. Now, if you look at what my son John Chi has done on his, is it emblem or whatever, you can see the Ark of Covenant which he has put there. You will see two cherubim whose four wings touch the seams. And you can see the Ark of Covenant there, which is the covenant box, designed. That is where you can see it clearly, because my son John Chi has done that, and you can see it there. And Jesus sits between. Now, but there are four beasts which are called the cherubim, and they are the ones that are spoken of here in this Revelation chapter number 6, and of which Apostle John says, one of them called out in a voice that thundered, and said, "Come and see." After when the lamb that was slain, which is Jesus of Nazareth, had opened the first seal. You know, the book, as you saw in Revelation chapter number 5, had 7 seals. It had 7 seals. And as you saw in the last chapter, you saw that nobody was able to open the seals and the book of life. But there you will have seen that it is only one man who is called the Son of Man, who is also called the Alpha and the Omega, who is called the beginning and the end, who is also called the Lamb that was slain, that was qualified to open the seals and then open the book likewise. So therefore, when he opened the first seal, the cherubim spoke in a thundering voice and called on Apostle John, "Come and see." Of the apostles that Jesus had, none of them had the opportunity or the privilege to witness this event, because Jesus had preserved Apostle John for that mission. And that is why when all of the others were martyred, even though John was poured in a tank of boiling oil, he came out alive. Those of you who are skeptics, you will say, where is that written in the Bible? Because you don't read enough. You take only the Bible and you read, and you think that the Bible has everything. Let me tell you, the Bible contains just 1/8 of the truth, which you need to know. 1/8. 7/8 is not there. Now let me tell you, Revelation chapter number 5 verse 6, I give it to you as reference. And Revelations 5:1, I repeated it to you as a reference. And Revelations 4 number 6 and 7 verses, and so on. Verse number 2, and I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. Now, a white horse. Now, in those days when they used to measure power, they talk about horsepower. Like, for example, if you go to the people at the sea and you have those engine boats, they will tell you of the horsepower of the engine boats. So when it is referred to a horse here, they are talking about power. And when you talk about power, you talk about nation that is giving power to rule over the earth. Take note of that. So it is referred to as a horse. And this is a white horse. It is a nation on this earth that goes about conquering other nations. And after it conquers, it is still ready to continue conquering. And when it talk about bow, it is talking about a weapon or weapons or diverse weapons used at war to conquer nations and to keep conquering nations. Take note of that. So a bow here is simply used as an example of weapons of war. And it said a crown was given unto him, which means that nation was given the crown by God himself to conquer the nations and to keep conquering the nations. Dear televiewers, what does this mean? It means that every nation in this world, in its authority and power, is not alone. It is given by God of the authority and power to rule over its country and nations below its own power. So no nation whatsoever that has power to rule over nations without that it was authorized by God himself in the person of Jesus Christ, who is the mighty power. Hey. So if you want to call America as this type of nation that is conquering and that is still to conquer, then you don't miss the target. Then you don't miss the target at all. It could be America. Well, you have another power called Russia, but as at this moment, I don't see it for that, because America is a superpower and it has gathered a great deal of nations behind it to make it again more superpower, more than super. Let us call it hyperpower. Hallelujah. So therefore, that is the reference of the horse, which is called a white horse, and which is given a crown to go about conquering nations and continue conquering nations again and again. You can see for yourself the war now in Ukraine. Okay, the war in Ukraine, you can see the support that America is giving Ukraine. And you can see the mess that Russia is doing in Ukraine. I can remember when my father used to say that let me tell you, and another adage that goes that big fish eat small fish. you can get those adages. You will then understand that Russia is a big fish that is about to eat the small fish. But the funniest thing in it is that Russia, when it will swallow the small fish will destroy its intestines. And then Russia will fall apart helpless because its intestines would have been destroyed. I'm prophesying this to you. And in this year, 2023, you will begin to get the outcome of what I've just told you. So you can now see that it is America that is doing the greatest of support onto Ukraine to make sure that Russia does not invade the totality of Ukraine and take it for its personal possession. So which is that white horse that goes about conquering and is still ready to conquer? I will refer you to the United States of America. Hallelujah. Verse number 3, and when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. So the first beast, which is the cherubim, had spoken his own lot, and it had passed. And John saw the miracle that happened. Now the second beast now also spoke in a thundering voice and called on John to come and see after when the second seal was opened by the Lamb that was slain, which is who? Yeshua HaMashiach. 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and the power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Now, look at this prophecy here. Could we say that it is fulfilled in our day? Russia could be likely the red horse. It has taken peace from the earth. Right now, as we are talking here, there is no peace in the whole world. The whole world is under threat because, as you know about the laws of the NATO, it is said that when one nation of NATO is touched by Russia, then all the NATO allies will enter into total war with Russia and its own allies. So the world now is at war with one another, whether you like it or not. So therefore, it could be referred to as the red horse. I tell you what the Lord tells me to tell you, not what comes out of my mouth. The whole world is not at peace at all. Because if Russia would dare touch one of the NATO countries, you will see that WW3 will just come out like a mushroom overnight. And when I talk about WW3, I mean World War III will come out overnight. So now, it is written here that a red horse was given away the power to take away peace from the earth. Now you and I are not at peace right now. Why? Because we're afraid. Every day when you read from the media, you will see that nations upon nations are contributing weapons and soldiers to go to Ukraine to fight. And Russia is also threatening Europe. Everybody has no peace any longer. There are food shortages round about the world. Wheat is produced heavily and corn in Ukraine. But now you can see the price of flour. It has shuttled like a shuttle going to the moon. It has shuttled like a shuttle going to the moon. It has skyrocketed. So do you have peace? We used to buy donuts, otherwise called puff-puff. Big one at 10 francs because there was much food. Today, a donut is like a little stone. You can aim it against somebody and the person will be injured because it is too small and very hard. Why? There is no flour for baking. And if there is flour, it's very, very little. We used to buy a bag of rice. How much? 9,000 for half a bag. And 18,000 for the bigger one. Today, how much to buy it? 30,000, 25,000, 26,000. And recently in Cameroon, the price of fuel has gone where? Skyrocketed. It is now shuttling to the moon. Now, is there world peace? There is no world peace at all. The whole place is full of turmoil. Nobody eats satisfactorily. Nobody sleeps and finishes his sleep. Nobody at all. In the whole world. So the world peace is not there. It is not there. Let nobody deceive you. The world is not at peace with one another. You can hear Korea threatening. You can hear China threatening. You can hear Russia's allies threatening NATO. And the whole world is not at peace at all. You can hear pandemics. You can hear pestilences. You can hear corona. You can hear all manner of deadly diseases coming upon the earth. And then it is written here, and there was given him unto him a great sword. Underline the word great sword here, which means Russia has weapons of mass destruction. When we talk about mass destruction, it means that weapons that can cause the sun to stop shining or stop light of the sun to touch the earth. And mass destruction here also means that even after the weapon should have exploded and people should have been killed, the effects of the bomb will remain onto the population, which are born and unborn, several years. You can remember what happened to Nagasaki and Hiroshima in Japan. When the atomic bomb was dropped there, the effects of the bomb remained till today. Children are born without limbs. Children are born without arms. Children are born in deformity. They do not have the real form of men. You can now see the effects of the bombs that were dropped in Nagasaki and Hiroshima in Japan, in World War II, in WW2. Now, but let me tell you now that the bombs that are existing in the world today are much more dangerous than the ones that were used yesteryears. So that is why it says that, and there was given unto him a great sword. Great sword. That is what it means here. So you can now see that the book of Revelation is being met nowadays. And I gave you references from the book of Zechariah chapter number 6 and verse number 2, and Matthew chapter number 10, verse number 34, so that you can now read again to know that what John saw, and it is happening today, surely it marks the beginning of the end times. Not the end times in itself, but the beginning of the end times. Hallelujah. Verse number 6. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Now, the black horse. There is coming another power, which is called the black power, that represents the black horse. Now, the black horse here refers to another nation, or a nation that will emerge. And this nation now will come with a power, and it has balances. And this balances is like a scale. When you put this way, it outweighs the other. Now, let me tell you about balances. Now, God has a balance. And whatever we do, it moves on to the balances. The positive and the negative. If your good deeds outweigh your evil deeds, you will be rewarded with good things. But if your evil deeds outweigh the good deeds, you are automatically a candidate of destruction for eternity. So whatever we do, it is put in a scale, or that you call balance, and it is weighed by Christ himself to see where actually, either on the positive scale or on the negative scale, what you obtain or what it obtains as a result. So in the same way, the black horse symbolizes a horse of doom. A horse of doom. That is, the first evil that we saw were even mild. But when the black horse will appear, it will be worse, or it will even be worst. And it said here, 6, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see that thou don't oil the oil and the wine. That is flour. You can now see how expensive flour has become. It fulfills here in Revelations chapter number 6. Barley here refers to flour, and wheat also refers to the same, like corn, and ground into flour. You can see now how flour has become expensive in this present day. You can begin to understand that the revelations of John are fulfilled in our days. But it was given unto that beast not to touch the oil and the wine. So wine is still in excess, and oil is still in excess, because it is pumped from underground. And it's still there. oil is in excess. You go to Saudi Arabia, you go to Iran, you go to all those nations, oil is not touched. It is still in excess. And wine also is in excess. You can see that. But what we consume has now stepped down, and the prices have become very, very high. Verse number 7. And when I opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see it." And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. Now a pale horse, good. And its name that's on it was called Death. So the pale horse name is called what? Die, or death. And hell followed him. So when you die, you go to where? Hell. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with a sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with pestilence, and all those things. Now, after this verse number 8, I will pause for a while. Let me drink some water before I will continue. Now, therefore, we can now see that the fourth beast now acted, and that is the horse, which is a power, and that power's name is called Death. So that death now carries hell behind it, and therefore many people, many a man will suffer a great deal, because many a man will die. And then that now will destroy nearly every nation under the sun and under the moon, and under the skies and the sun and the moon and the stars. Nations will be destroyed, and many of them will die. War will be without limit. It will be without frontier. It will be without barrier. The nations of the earth will face human beings dying like ants, and the whole earth will be littered with corpses, with people's corpses, and there will be a great stench that will be coming out of the bodies, which will litter the earth, and birds of the sky will feed upon these carcasses, and the people will become carcasses. That is the evil day, which is reserved for humanity. So whatever we are doing today, let us think of these days, which are full of evil. And we are beginning to see the days. If you look at what happened in Rome and in other parts of Europe, when Corona just came out, you will see corpses. You could see boxes laid in thousands of boxes of people laid, dead, and human beings became like dead ants. But that is just a mild something. The worst is about to come. So therefore, we as human beings, we have to be very, very careful. We have to be very, very thankful of God for causing us to see these days. Because the days that are ahead may be very, very gloomy. They might be the gloomiest. How I wish that many of us will not live to see these gloomiest days which are coming ahead. Where would then be your boasting? Where would then be your pride about your jets and your golden chairs and your numerous cars and your bank accounts kept here and there in Japan, in Russia, in America, in other parts of the world? Where will all these things be? Will they save you? Will they bring you to the light of truth? Will you make eternity? Will Christ look upon you as worthy to live with him? At the end, you will see that when Solomon said, "It is all vanity," he didn't mince his words. He spoke the truth. And that truth truly remains. Vanity upon vanity. And I referred you to Zechariah chapter number 6, verse 3, Hosea 3:14, Jeremiah 15, verses 2 and 3, and Ezekiel chapter number 5, verses 12 and 7. So I will go off the air to take some little air before I will return. So over to you, our brother in the studio. I'm going off the air right now. Over to you. Foso, over. Foso, over to you.